What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and are we witnessing the decline of the MCU? Probably. Coming back down to reality would be, I think, a fair way to put it. Are there people that have watched Thor Love and Thunder and were greatly entertained? Oh yeah, definitely. And reaching $500 million at the box office is no small feat. The fact of the matter is, though, this will absolutely be viewed as a failure by Disney. The profit margins will be razor thin. And for Thor, one of the last kind of standing characters in their MCU, after Chris Evans left and we had Robert Downey Jr. gone, no one really cares about Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. This is embarrassing. The budget for this film was, I believe, one of the biggest budgets in their history. $250 to $300 million for this budget, and it is not going well. The second week box office plummeted nearly 70% in the second week. I want to say, though, this is not how do I say, this isn't the end of Marvel. It's probably the end of these massive budgets, though. When you have a $250 to $300 million budget, that means you have to make $500 to $600 million just to break even. $500 to $600 million just to break even. Now, the movie has 79% audience score. More people, fans of Thor popcorn films just want to go have fun and relax. I believe it would be pretty difficult to hate this movie. It's fine. It's a fine movie, and it'll be even better when it's streamed. But when you have this big of a budget, 250 to 300 million, fans will say, "Oh, 500 million, suck it, nerds, Marvel forever." That's nothing. That's nothing when the budget is what it was. Look at the budget of Joker, how tiny that was, making $1 billion. I mean, Thor is at less than half of what Top Gun Maverick made. Top Gun Maverick made $1.2 billion with a B. Thor in the MCU isn't even halfway there, just to put things in perspective. This is a real moment. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Thor Love and Thunder was going to be indicative, or it was going to be a barometer of what the new peak Marvel could do. Now, Spider-Man kind of stands on his own, because Spider-Man's a Sony property, and he's not really, nowadays he is certainly just as much a part of the MCU as anything else, but Spider-Man stands alone, because the latest Spider-Man movie did very, very good. But with this box office, a 70% drop in the second week, that indicates that word of mouth was not great. For a movie that is the most expensive non-Avengers MCU universe film to date, this is not the performance that Marvel expected nor wanted for Thor Love and Thunder. Thor Love and Thunder is the #1 movie in the world for the second consecutive week. However, the overall box office haul has Disney executives wondering if they're going to get anywhere close to the return on investment that they had believed. This is via Bonding into Comics. The film suffered a 68% drop for its second weekend at the box office, for a total haul of just $46 million. This ranks among the MCU's second weekend, the worst second weekend drop-off in history, including Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is another new movie, okay? That dropped 67%, and Black Widow dropped 68%. Think about that. Of all the MCU films, the biggest drop-offs were the last 3 that they did. The current worldwide total for the film sits at 497, just call it 500 million, after 2 weeks, with 264 million internationally and just 233 in the United States. However, insiders claim the film will have to hit $700 million just to break even, given the massive costs associated with production. That number keeps going up. The rule of thumb used to be double the budget, 250, 500 break even. Now 700. I'd have to see some math behind that, but certainly maybe they are marketing it more than they were other movies. I don't know. It's difficult to know. Marvel spent $250 million on production on the film alone. While it is expected to hit that mark, The performance will be considered a major disappointment for Marvel Studios, who were expecting $1 billion from the film starring one of the founding members of the MCU's Avengers team. Thor: Love and Thunder is expected to perform far below Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which grossed over $950 million towards the end of its theatrical run. Both movies pale in comparison to 2021 Spider-Man's No Way Home, which was nearly $2 billion in worldwide theaters. Love and Thunder has a long way to go if it wants to reach the top 3 in the domestic United States box office this year. As of writing, the film is $30 million behind Minions. Universal Pictures also holds the number 4 spot with Jurassic World Dominion, that has collected $360 million in the U.S. after surprising $900 million in their total worldwide gross. People love dinosaurs, even if they're terrible movies. Warner Brothers Discovery's The Batman is at number 3 with $370 million in the U.S. Meanwhile, Paramount's Top Gun Maverick is away from the pack with over $620 million domestically, over $200 million above Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Marvel Phase 4 of the longest-running cinematic soap opera has been a major disappointment for audiences, has been criticized for its overall lack of direction. 2021 saw the release of numerous films that failed to strike a chord with audiences throughout the lockdowns, like Black Widow, Shang-Chi, The Legend of Ten Rings, and The Eternals. Now, people say Black Widow was serviceable, and people said Shang-Chi was a good movie, just people didn't go see it. I think The Eternals is objectively bad. After those films barely broke even for Marvel, they got a massive push from Spider-Man No Way Home. However, that film was distributed by Sony, not Disney. Audience reactions to Doctor Strange 2 and Thor 4 have led many to question the direction of the MCU moving forward. Next movie up will be the Black Panther sequel, Wakanda Forever, scheduled for November release. Marvel Studios is expected to release its first footage of the film during San Diego Comic-Con. 2023 will see the release of MCU films Ant-Man 3, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and The Marvels, and the reboot of the Fantastic Four franchise, which they shouldn't be doing. I think that even when you look at, the Slash film says Thor: Love and Thunder falls hard at the box office, even Rotten Tomatoes, Thor: Love and Thunder stays on top despite big drop. These big second week drops aren't that uncommon. But let's say it even holds the 40 million over the next couple of weeks. It's got miles to go to hit 700 million. It's at 500 million now. It would need 5 more weeks in the theaters without dropping a dime where it is now to hit the 700 million. Yes, it's the best of what's out there right now, but that Disney is not happy about this. You can see 2/3 of Americans are cutting back on restaurants and movies. 61%. That's 2/3 of people are cutting back on going to the movies. 61% are driving less. 4 in 10 say they're spending less on restaurants, and a third are using more credit cards as a record 40-year high inflation hits home. Nearly 2/3 of Americans have cut back on restaurants, movies, and other fun nights out, according to a survey offering the latest snapshot of how 40-year high inflation is causing widespread economic pain. While also paying $5 plus at the pump per gallon is likely not helping. It's likely not making people feel awesome. Shoppers are spending less on everyday basics like bread, eggs, and milk, as well as processed goods like juice boxes, according to other studies by Nielsen IQ. Cereals alone have risen by a jaw-dropping 15%. Inflation reached a 40-year high of 9.1% last month, according to the government's Consumer Price Index, as people across the United States struggle to make ends meet and complained about painful cutbacks that they had to make. What people don't understand, these rich kids on Twitter or Hollywood elites, is these movies, movies in general, are really not that important. They're not. And if Hollywood stopped producing movies tomorrow, nothing would change. There's so many great movies that you can watch at home for free now. Even if you're a Prime member, there's thousands of movies that you can watch on there. Sure, they're not all the best, but you got stuff. And, people still own movies. You can go to your local library and rent movies for free if you still have a DVD player. There's a lot of things that you can do. And, I would say that this is probably starting would be leading to some panic inside of Disney, almost certainly. I really appreciate. We had a huge weekend at coffeebrandcoffee.com. We're fully restocked on everything. All 6 of our organic loose leaf teas, all 6 of our coffee blends, all 3 of our hot cocos. We have all of our mugs back in. So if you get a chance, head on over to coffeebrandcoffee.com, support the channel, get yourself some beans, get some tea, get some cocoa, or some merch. I would greatly appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.